Bosch Carrera Cup North America on IMSA Radio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome along to Super Sunday. We are ready to go for our first racing of today. Overnight, there's been a little bit of rain, so we're starting from scratch as far as the condition of the 4 miles around Road America is concerned. It's John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw. Well, you have to have a little bit of rain if you're going to have such a green and pleasant land that we're in this weekend. 4 miles around, 14 corners, laid down in 1955, and as far as the layout of the track is concerned, not really been touched since then, and thank goodness for that, because there's so much character here. Very fast into turn 1, tricky downhill braking into turn 5 and 8, and then down the inside, the right-hand side at Canada Corner. And then it's all uphill back to the start line. As the cars roll out of the pit lane, we'll remind you what happened in the first race earlier on this weekend with very different weather conditions and the bright sunshine. Parker Thompson from pole position after the 2 front row starters were relegated to the back for technical infractions after qualifying. Then it was Sean Varwig and TJ Fisher having a bit of argy-bargy down at turn 3. Riley Dickinson and Hutton McKenna coming to, well, blows actually, and Hutton McKenna got a drive-through penalty for that, took that as a time penalty later on. Dominic Leclerc brought out the safety car, the Porsche Turbo S, down in Ricochet Alley after the kink. Parker Thompson down the inside of Varenchowski. That was ruled as a racing incident, and at the checkered flag, Parker Thompson takes the victory. Kai van Berlo fighting his way back through. Good points for him. Marco Cironi ahead of the number 99 iFly car of Alan Metney in Pro-Am. And in the Am category, welcome back to Mark Kwame, who didn't come to the races at Toronto, and he vaults back up into second position in the Am class. But congratulations to John Guts, who takes the lead in that category. Bill Smith, not here this weekend, who came into this weekend normally with that bright orange Porsche. He came into the weekend leading the race. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me. Plenty of good action yesterday, some not so good for one or two of the drivers. We kind of expect that at this high speed, high risk circuit. Very different conditions today, and that will have a different, an effect on the start of the race, Jeremy.
Yeah, totally. Yes, John, totally different today.
As the Porsche are leading them, the Porsche safety car leads them around. It will be a bit different, as I said, Jeremy, at the start.
Yes, John, indeed, completely different today. And of course, the whole complexion of the weekend was changed after qualifying on Friday, when the 2 drivers who set the fastest 2 times were Kai van Berlo, the championship leader, and his Kelly Moss teammate Riley Dickinson were both DQ'd after qualifying. There was a non-performance enhancing change to one of the parts on the car, and it really was non-performance enhancing. It was more aimed towards trying to prevent any damage, collateral damage in the event of contact between 2 cars, but you're not allowed to alter any parts at all, so therefore put to the back of the field. So Kai van Berlo and Riley Dickinson had to work their way through the field. For today's race, with these very, very different conditions, there will be, instead of just 1 pace lap, there will be 2, this being the first one, but the clock for 40 minutes will start at the end of this lap. So the first lap will be run behind the safety car, and then, assuming conditions stay the same, there will be the regular side-by-side start.
And the reasoning behind that, if you're not sure why that is because we've not had any running in wet or even damp conditions. So we will not go green at the end of this lap, but we will start the 40-minute countdown clock. That means, Jeremy, that we have a little bit of time to look at the grid, and a stacked field after a slightly reduced field in Canada. We're back to full strength here.
We are, but there are a few drivers who are not taking part in the race. So Dominic Leclerc had a big crash yesterday. Bob Mueller also has withdrawn from teammate at Goldcrest Motorsports. And Tom Balamis is not starting either in the Kelly Moss car number 19. So there'll be, I think, 29 cars in this race. At the back of the field would be Grady Willingham in car number 21. Alongside him, Craig Conway in car number 97. Vernon McClure back again in car number 10. Alongside him on the grid, car number 95, that's Connor Flynn. Thomas Collingwood will start car number 69. On the 13th row will be Jeff Myshak in car number 29 and Richard Edge in car number 18. Michael McCann will start in car number 8 in the 23rd position. In the 22nd, John Getz, the championship leader in AM in car number 57 for Wright Motorsports. Alongside him, Pedro Torres for ACI Motorsports in car number 16. Row 10 is PJ Hyatt, making his debut this weekend. A good one yesterday, finished 4th in Pro-Am in car number 23 for Kelly Moss. Alongside him, Kurt Swearing in car number 17 for ACI Motorsports. Riley Dickinson. So the times for the grid positions for this race were set according to either the second fastest lap in qualifying or the best lap for each driver in race 1. Well, Riley Dickinson went to the back, so it was his best time from the race yesterday in car number 53. That will make him starting 18th position in today's race for Kelly Moss. 17th position, Matt Holcomb in car number 55 for Goldcrest Motorsports. Moise Uretsky will start on the outside of row 8 in car number 44 for Accelerating Performance. Alongside the AM class leader, the pole sitter is Mark Kawami in car number 43 for MDK Motorsports. Hutton McKenna, who had a penalty after the end of the race yesterday for not serving a drive-through, was issued during the race, will start number 88 for Wright Motorsports in the 14th position. Alongside him, Kai Van Berlo, who set a time good enough during the race yesterday to be 13th fastest on the grid today for Kelly Moss in car number 3. Row 6, yesterday's winner in the Pro-Am class, Marco Cironi, car number 84 for Mark Motors Racing, alongside Efren Castro in car number 65 for Kelly Moss. Row 5, Lee Keane, car number 12 for 311 RS Motorsports, alongside the championship leader in Pro-Am, that's car number 99, for Kelly Moss Racing, is Alan Metley. Row 4, Travis Wiley in car number 77 for Top Racing, alongside the Kelly Moss car number 2 for Sean Varwig. Row 3, TJ Fisher also for Top Racing in car number 58. Alongside him, another really good qualifying effort for Varun Choksi in car number 13 for Wright Motorsports. Row 2, Dimitri Demarcos on the outside, car number 11 for 311 RS Motorsports. Alongside Michael McCarthy in car number 7 for Kelly Moss, a really good qualifying run for him. But the front row, same as yesterday, second position on the grid for MDK Motorsports in car number 6 is Trenton Estep. And on the pole position for JDX Racing in that top-up Porsche, car number 9, the race winner from yesterday from Canada is Parker Thompson.
So the time has started as they came across the line. So effectively, we are into the race. This gives the drivers all the opportunity to find out where the damp parts on the track are behind the Porsche 911 Turbo S. The opportunity to go green this time around if race control feels that it is safe to do so. Quite a lot of spray being thrown up, and actually it had just stopped raining and it started to drizzle again down at Canada Corner. The lights are out on the safety car and it looks like we are going to go for a side-by-side, too wide start stroke restart. I did wonder what would happen, but that's been communicated to the drivers. So we've burned about 4 minutes, but what the drivers have got is the opportunity to feel their way around the track and find out where the worst of the standing water is. We've had a couple of car club and car corral sets of laps around, which have dried off the racing line a wee bit because they were on street tyres, of course. So it's down to Parker Thompson. He went really early yesterday, right from the bottom of the hill. Today he's taking it a little bit easier. He will not want to spin up the Michelin rain tyres. This is going to be a really tricky start here and a tricky braking down into turn number 1. Just under 36 minutes to go. Parker Thompson to the pit wall side is our pole sitter for JDX Racing in the Shell top-up car, the red, white and yellow car. Alongside him, Trenton Estep, double winner in Canada. And we are racing for the second time here this weekend in America's National Park of Speed for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands. Parker Thompson immediately to the inside, wants to stay off the white lines if he can and stays well away from the outside of the track. That's a pretty good start for everybody concerned there as he dives down, still on the inside of the track. And what a start by Dimitri Dimakos in the black and red Porsche. He's up into second position from fourth on the grid. Went a little bit wide from turn 3, but the young man, still very inexperienced, is doing a great job. He's been challenged now by Trenton Estep, but he did get through there into second place at the start of the race.
Brilliant start by Dimitri Dimakos. At the end of the straight, once again, Trenton Estep just been a little bit conservative, breaking a little bit early. That allows TJ Fisher to go down the inside into third position. Parker Thompson says thank you very much indeed. And all of a sudden, he's got about 7 or 8 car lengths lead over Dimitri Dimakos. Local driver, of course, Dimitri. He and his 311 RS teammate Lee Keane, both carrying the colours of yes, this weekend. Come back to that in a minute when I can remember what the name is.
Down towards the, straight on for the number 12 car.
Oops.
That's the other 311 RS machine. That was Lee Keane. The all red version, that was down at the bottom of the hill at turn number 8. 58 going through the carousel is TJ Fisher with the Apex Capital car.
We're allowed brain farts, aren't we? Deluxe is the sponsor of that 311 RS team on the side of both cars this weekend. Normally it's just Dimitri Dimakos, but also this weekend for Lee Keane, who missed the Thursday practice session because he was feeling unwell after some food poisoning the night before, but he's into his groove now. Made a bit of a mistake on this lap, but he's still very much in contention. But Parker Thompson is making hay while the sun doesn't shine here and pulling away at the front of the field as Trenton Estep tries to find his way back up into second position.
Lee Keane going way long in turn 8, down at the bottom of the hill. The white X on the front of his red car. It's the red X on the front cover of Dimitri Dimakos' black car, who is under pressure as he comes past us and the start-finish line. Crosses the line now, down towards the first corner. He's staying to the right-hand side, to the inside of the corner. Not quite as quick into the corner. Gets a little bit of a slide on as he's going down through the gearbox and round the outside for Trenton Estep. If he can hold on to that, that's a good move. It's a very good move, and it nets him second position. Did have to take to the outside of the track there, the curbs, but that was okay. He's gone wide in turn 3, or is he just looking for a little more grip? Tends to be that if you follow what we might call a traditional racing line, that's where all the rubber is laid down. Now, in dry conditions, that's great. In wet conditions, the water sits on the top of it. It gets really greasy and slippery. So quite often you'll see these drivers looking like they're missing the apex of the corner, but actually what they're doing is they're searching for grip. Riley Dickinson trying to fight his way through, so is the championship leader, Kai van Berlo, just getting a little love tap from the red car of Lee Keane going into turn 6. Keane up the inside and right ahead of Kai van Berlo is the number 2 car? No, it's the number 13 of Varon Chotsky. Red, white and black car.
And on that first lap, Kai van Berlo made up 4 positions over his starting position of 13th up to 9th. And certainly on a bit of a charge here. He's trying to minimise the damage after that DQ after qualifying.
And Riley Dickinson up from, I think you said 18th on the grid, to 11th at the end of the lap we've just completed. So both of those 2 white cars with the green stripe, these Racing for Children's machines, the Kelly Moss run cars. Kelly Moss by far the most numerate in terms of cars running. They're set up very big here.
9 cars this weekend. Yikes.
And they were running a car in the Michelin Pilot Challenge yesterday as well. Good to see that team doing so well.
And led a portion of that as well.
Yes, they did.
Until the closing stages. But really tricky conditions right now. I mean, it's not as wet as we feared it might be, which is a very, very good news. But you know, it's just really slippery out there.
Side by side off the final corner. And better grip for the number 3, Kelly Moss Road and Race car. But as they go across the line, a little boost of forward motion there by the 13, the red, white and black ADR car of Varanchowski. Down into turn 1 though, Shuley. Well, we've seen this before. and it ended in tears for the 13 car. And this time, Lee Keane is the one who tries to benefit, and also Riley Dickinson, the second of the two white and green cars. Well, finally, the pass is made. What a manoeuvre by Riley Dickinson. Takes two cars in one go down at turn 3 and now goes for his teammate. They're side by side on the curving run to turn 5, and there's almost a touch between the two green and white cars. Dickinson has the orange notes on the front of his spoiler. Down into turn 5, who's got the grip? Ansel van Berlo. And Lee Keane's going to come alongside Branchovski as he head over the brow into turn 6. He's on the slippery part of the track though, but does make it through. Well, that was all actually very good driving from everyone concerned. Parker Thompson leads by 0.6 of a second from Trenton Estep in second. Dimitri Dimakos is still in third position in the black number 11. Then TJ Fisher in the silver and multicoloured car. Then Michael McCarthy. Then Travis Wiley. Sean Warwick. And then the battle that we've been watching. And at the front of the field, there's barely half a second between the top two.
Indeed so, and that means that Trenton Estep has absolutely been flying these last 2 laps since getting past Dimitri Dimakos. He pulled out over 2 seconds on him on that first lap he passed him, and the deficit to Parker Thompson was over 2 seconds. It's now, as we can see, just a few car lengths, so Trenton Estep is flying right now.
Really interesting, the difference in approach by these two drivers. You would say that Parker is taking the more traditional lines and going for the inside of the corners, but notably at Canada corner and even at turn 14 there, the number 6 car in second position for MDK Motorsports and Trenton Estep was about a car's width away from the apex, the centre part of the corner. He's closed right up on the leader now, and as they go across the line, he pulls out to the right-hand side. This is the long way around turn 1, and he may not have quite as much grip as he was hoping in the braking area. They're going to duke it out into turn 1 for the lead. They both get a little bit squirrely, and Estep goes way wide, rejoins, and they're still side by side. There was a little touch there, part of the wheel arch liner at the back right-hand corner of Estep's car just moved a little bit. No, it's a bit of the rear bumpers moved, and he's gone round the outside of turn 3, drops the left-hand side tyres into the dirt, but makes the pass on the grass to take the lead.
Really good, respectful driving from both of those.
Metney's off.
Metney axed.
That's a big off now. Come on, Alan, get down the gearbox. It's damp, that gravel. You might be able to get out. Keep the revs down, keep it rocking. Oh, he's dug it in. He's dug it in. I think that might be game over for Alan. This is the man that leads the championship. He's beached that one now. Yeah, he needed the forward motion immediately. Couldn't get the car down into a lower gear. This is at turn 3, by the way. 27 minutes on the clock. Estep's just taking the lead from Thompson. Dimakos is in third. TJ Fisher, then Michael McCarthy. Travis Wiley, Kai van Berlo has got past Sean Warwick into 7th position. Dickinson is in 9th, and the engine has been turned off. The flat 6 is silent on the 99 car, and the full course caution is out. We'll see the guards red 911 Turbo S on the track. That is disastrous for Alan Metney, the Pro-Am Cup leader. Now, did he jump or was he pushed? Oh, no, it was his own fault, and he actually hit the back of Efren Castro as he was coming down the hill. That's the man with whom he's battling for the championship lead.
Indeed, and Castro just must have passed him at turn 1, because when they came across the line, Alan Metney was ahead of Efren Castro. Let's have a look at this pass leader. Parker Thompson was not going to give up that inside line, as was the case yesterday. Absolutely side by side into turn 1, and really respectful driving. If Parker Thompson drives him fairly wide, but then gives him room to get back onto the racetrack. I really like that. What we saw yesterday in a couple of instances was drivers saying, well, screw you, basically. It's up to you to find your way back on the racetrack. I like that. That, to me, is respectful driving. And then around the outside of turn 3, a brilliant move by Trenton Estep to take the lead.
And you've got to take into account there, Jeremy, that drivers aren't necessarily going all the way to the apex on the inside of the corner, because they're taking the wet racing line rather dry racing line. And that's why Parker Thompson was probably a little bit wider into turn 1 than would have been the case. Now, interestingly here, everybody driving on the wet parts of the track, they're trying to cool their tyres down. So whilst they're behind the safety car, they were all right up against the wall as they came past our broadcast centre. And heading down to turn 1, only a few cars still there. Oh, well, Alan Metney's getting dragged out. Now, he hasn't lost a lap yet, I don't think. Get it fired up, Alan. Here, he's just lost the lap there now. Just lost the lap, so he'll have to wait. Might as well drop onto the back, Alan. Well, he's rejoining in the middle of the pack. There's no wave around here, so no lucky dog. So he will be, I think he's just going to let himself trickle to the back here. Just looking to see if there's any damage underneath that car. I don't think there is. Very interesting to see drivers pulling out of line, as Parker Thompson is now, to try and find damp patches. Yeah. Why are they doing that? They're trying to cool down the surface temperatures of their Michelin wet tyres. It's a common misconception that the grooves in the tyres that you have on your street car give you the grip. It's not. It's the tread blocks in between. That's why in dry condition we run in racing on slick tyres to put the most rubber in contact with the road that you can. The grooves, or the sipes as they are called in tyre technology terms, they are there to move water. But what that also does, it means those tread blocks in between the grooves, they move around. You feel that when you're pushing a road tyre really hard. And also on a wet racing tyre with grooves, what you do is you build up the heat much quicker than in a slick tyre, but if you overheat the tyres, those blocks start to move around considerably, and that means the car starts to move around as well. They are slightly higher profile tyre as well from the slick racing tyres, so the teams will have had to make some slight changes to the ride heights of the cars to compensate for the difference in the sidewall height on the tyres. So not just a simple matter of bolting on a set of tyres. And the teams and drivers this morning, before we came out for this, will have had to decide, do we go for a full wet setting with the wet tyres? Do we stay on the dry setting, but absolutely know that we're going to have to start on wet racing tyres? Or do we do something in between? And that would have been talked about from all of these cars, because if it starts to dry out now, we don't normally see pit stops here, and with only 22 minutes to go, I'm not sure there's time to do 4 tyres and get back out and still be competitive unless you're right at the back of the grid. There are tyre trolleys with slick racing tyres on the pit lane. So some people might be thinking about that with 22 minutes to go when we come back round for the green flag, which will happen next time by.
Yeah, so too late now to come in and make that switch, and I don't think the track's dry enough right now in any case. 2 minutes 24 was the fastest lap on the last lap of racing. The pole time here for this race was 2:08, so 16 seconds difference, and that's quite a lot. So it's definitely wet tyres right now, but what a move that was for Trenton Estep to take the lead from Parker Thompson. 2 really fine young chargers here, and in the meantime, Kai van Berlo and Riley Dickinson up into 7th and 8th positions.
Green flag, and once again the leader goes early, but this time it's Trenton Estep, and Parker Thompson wasn't quite under the rear wing of that Porsche 992 Cup car. Down towards turn 1, and it was side by side across the line. Lee Keane having to get around Alan Metney, who joined back in the middle of the pack when he was recovered. A couple of incidents under review, by the way. The Estep and Parker ones certainly under review, and also the number 99 Alan Metney and Efren Castro that saw Alan Metney off the track under review as well. So race control looking at that. Meantime, big slide by Riley Dickinson.
No, it was
it was Kai van Berlo.
I think it was, wasn't it?
No, it was.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you're absolutely right. It was Kai van Berlo. Dickinson's in behind him. We've got the 3 green and white Racing for Children's car pretty close together, with Michael McCarthy just a car or so ahead. It's Travis Wiley for Top Racing in between in the 77, so 7, 77, 3 and 53, and the 7, 3 and 53 are all the team cars for Racing for Children's and the Kelly Moss Racing team.
Meanwhile, in Pro-Am, with that, first of all, the pass yesterday, Efren Castro didn't finish the race, unfortunately, so he lost a lot of ground in the championship, and it looks like the same thing's going to happen today for Alan Metner, who's a lap down now and really out of contention for that class. So, but even before that, Marco Chironi, who won yesterday, had taken the lead from the start here again today. He started third in the class on the grid, but was in the lead on the first lap and has maintained that in that Mark Motors Racing car number 84. So he leads in Pro-Am. Efren Castro is second. Moise Uretsky up to third place in that accelerated performance car number 44. And right behind him is Mark Kouame, the AM leader in car number 43 in 16th position. He's got about 4 or 5 cars in between himself and John Getz in the second AM car for number 57, Wright Motorsports.
And they are second and first in the AM category in that order, Mark Kouame and John Getz. With John just holding enough points from yesterday, I think when we did the arithmetic and got the abacus out, to hold on to the championship lead in AM.
By just 2 points yesterday, gets over Kouame. So if it stays as it is now, Kouame will be back in the championship lead in AM.
No Bill Smith this weekend, injured his foot and really shouldn't have raced at Toronto last time out, but did and won twice. Took the championship lead from Mark Kouame, but advised by the medics not to do that again, so he's sitting out. Bill, we miss you and the bright orange car. We would have seen you in this slightly dark conditions today. Mistake by championship leader Kai van Berlo at turn 1, and through goes Riley Dickinson as he gains on the Apex Capital car of Travis Wiley for Top Racing. 2 Top Racing cars up there as well. TJ Fisher is a couple of cars further ahead. The 58 car, in fact, being passed at the moment by Dimitri Dimakos. No, trying to pass Dimitri Dimakos. Dimakos has faded a little bit after that run. Oh, and straight on for TJ Fisher.
And Parker Thompson the same. Ahead of them. Lost a lot of ground there, did Parker Thompson, to the race leader, Trenton Estep.
A lot of team cars together, so both the Top Racing cars there. The 77 of Travis Wiley then's gone past TJ Fisher in the number 58 in all of that. From the restart, at the front of the field, Trenton Estep still leads. So down into turn 5, the number 58 of TJ Fisher goes too long as he was battling. Watch his team car come through, same colours, there it goes. And then the 3 green and white cars are all the Kelly Moss Racing for Children's cars. Now, they now are sitting with Riley Dickinson, I think, just ahead. No, that's still Michael McCarthy with the pink colours on at the number 7. You have to look at the front valance of the cars to split those up because they're otherwise identical in terms of their liveries.
Yes, how did Riley Dickinson fall back again there, car number 53?
In that Schmozzle,
yes, yeah. Okay, fine.
He was held up a little bit going up the hill from turn 5 up to the top of Fireman's Hill at turn 6. Now the number 12, bright red car of Lee Keane, in the mix now, just ahead of Riley Dickinson, and Riley fighting his way back through. It's the Deluxe 311 RS car. Ahead of him, Kai van Berlo goes up the inside of Lee's teammate in the black car. Oh, little touch coming out of turn 14 on Dimitri Dimakos. Remember, the 3 and the 53 started at the back yesterday because their times were disallowed, fought their way through into good point scoring position. Lee Keane on his teammate now, down the inside. Down into turn 1. Riley Dickinson all the way around the outside. Big slide from Lee Keane. Has he overheated the Michelin tyres? Through goes Van Berlo on Dimakos. Keane trying to get in there as well. Here comes Riley Dickinson. Van Berlo struggling to slow the car down at the bottom of the hill. There's still 16 minutes to go here, Jeremy, and I think people are starting to struggle for grip, not because it's getting wetter, but they have worn out their tyres, or they are wearing out their tyres. Extremely difficult conditions wet and greasy, too wet. Oh, and a big hit, and that's the championship leader has been picked up, and that was all on Lee Keane. He's put Van Berlo into the gravel at turn 5. That was like a snooker shot there, and he's planted the two Kelly Moss racing cars, and Van Berlo is out. The championship leader is not getting out of there. Riley Dickinson with a big dent in the right-hand side of the door.
Big hole in the side of the door, it looks like. Yeah, yikes, that was...
And that was a mistake by Lee Keane. It wasn't deliberate, but he's going to get a penalty for that. Now, how quickly can Kai Van Berlo get the two out of here? Coming down to turn 5, it's a difficult downhill braking area, and just a mistake. Locked up the front from Lee Keane, very unusual for him. And then he cannoned Riley Dickinson into Kai Van Berlo. The two Kelly Moss racing cars then bearing the brunt of that. Lee Keane able to continue and hold the position. Well, championships have been won and lost on lesser things. Two sets of teammates there. Dimitri Tamakos managed to stay out of the way in the black number 11. But Riley Dickinson punted into a slide, nothing he could do, and he took out his teammate, but that was all initiated not by the white car onto the red ball, but by the red car onto the two white ones.
Yes, that's true.
I'm not sure how many points you get in that for billiards.
No, quite a lot. Negative points. But the problem there for Lee Keane as Kai Van Berlo is dragged out of the gravel trap, so he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap. But how much damage is there to that number 3 car? I think there's quite a lot of damage to the left rear corner on that car, so I don't think his race is going to last much longer. But the problem for Lee Keane there was he got up on a curb on the right-hand side of the track under braking down there at turn 5. Easy to do because he was following directly behind Riley Dickinson, and just got a wheel on that curb, and there's very little grip on that curb. That would have altered the grip coefficient on either side of the car enough to lock it up, get into the back of Riley Dickinson. Let's have another look at it, coming down the hill.
So 3 wide at one point. Dimitri Tamakos is staying out the way. Yeah, Jeremy, you're spot on. Just got the right-hand side Michelin tyres onto that red and yellow curb, and that was very unlucky, and I don't think we're going to see anything more competitively from the number 3 car. Damage to the left rear. I was hoping it was just bodywork and that he could resume, and we might see a charge back from Kai Van Berlo. But he's touring back towards the pit lane. The hazard flashes go on automatically after incidents for the Cup cars. And now the wheels are all pointing in the right direction, but the bodywork is askew. And I wonder if when he accelerated away, something gave way, maybe a drive shaft or something like that.
I think that right rear is damaged. Right rear or left rear? Left rear, yeah. And
amazingly, Lee Keane's car looks absolutely pristine.
Well, yeah,
there's not even a scratch on the front.
He's barely... it was a very minor tap onto the back of Riley Dickinson, a relatively light tap on the back of Riley Dickinson's car, as Kai Van Berlo heads off to him there for just getting that car.
Yeah, suspension damage.
The way, yeah.
The suspension damage on that car.
Really unfortunate for him.
Look, there's the championship leader, Jeremy, making sure that he doesn't ruin anybody else's race.
Yeah.
Through goes the cars. He's just pulled off to the driver's right at the bottom of the hill there.
And coming into this round after yesterday's result, where Kai Van Berlo came through brilliant to finish in 4th position. Fourth position. The gap between them after that round was 38 points between first and second, back to Parker Thompson. But Thompson, of course, is only running second at the moment to Trenton Estep, who was only 19 points behind in 3rd position. So the championship is definitely tightening up here between these 3.
25 points for a win, 2 points for pole position, which Parker Thompson's already had. 1 point for the fastest lap, currently in the hands of Trenton Estep. Kai Van Berlo reflecting on how cruel motor racing can be. Absolutely nothing he could have done. There's no worse feeling when you are... he'd made the corner. He was quite happily getting ready to accelerate. In fact, probably was already starting to accelerate up Fireman's Hill to turn 6 and gets clobbered by his teammate. And no blame on Riley Dickinson either. He was completely out of control at that point and sliding sideways, having been tapped in the braking area. What it shows and what it proves time and time again when we see those incidents, that there is nothing left. There is no margin for these guys. They are on the very ragged edge of braking and grip, right on the edge of adhesion. We're going back to green with roughly the same amount of time as we saw yesterday, 10 minutes to go. And here comes Trenton Estep. He crosses the line now and heads down to turn 1. Now, Parker Thompson will know, he'll have seen and he will have been told by his team that the championship leader is out. Second in the championship, second in this race. Those points are really important right now because he's clawing back ground on the championship leader. Would he like a few more for being first? Yes, he would, but he shouldn't be thinking about risking too much at this point. The slight problem that he's got is that Michael McCarthy for Kelly Moss Racing is looking very, very quick in third position in the remaining now Racing for Children's car, the number 7.
The problem for Trenton Estep, though, is that that right rear bodywork is flailing around somewhat, and race control is certainly going to be having a look at that. It's not particularly safe. It's also going to act like a parachute on the straightaways, I would think.
Drive through, not unexpectedly, as McKenna goes long in the yellow and white car down at turn 5. It will be a drive through. Incident responsibility for Lee Keane. Incident responsibility with 3 and 53. He only gets 1 drive through, even though he did manage to take 2 cars out. Now, the problem with that bodywork flapping is it will slow him down on the long straights, of which there are a few, as Michael McCarthy loses position at Travis Wiley. That was a nice move by Travis in the first of the 2 top racing cars that are now in the top 5, the Apex Capital machines. That's the GT Silver with the blue and red, bit of yellow on those cars as well. But going back to the leader, that's flapping, that'll be making a horrible noise. The driver will tune that out. It will slow him down a little bit. But what race control will be looking at there is whether that might be a danger if it rips some of the bodywork off.
Yeah, or falls off and it's run over by somebody else. So they're certainly going to be watching that. It's
the outer rear edge of the right part of the bumper. I thought it was the wheel arch liner, but it's actually the whole of that rear panel, rear 3/4 panel behind the right rear Michelin tyre, and it is getting worse. It's starting to rip away at the top by the left-hand rear light cluster, the right-hand rear light cluster. Cross the line with 7 3/4 minutes to go. Starting at lap number 11, and the gap is 1.3 seconds. Parker Thompson. I tell you what, Jeremy, it's not dry, but it's drying, and on the front straight, it is almost dry. And this is going to be eating up these wet weather tyres. Efren Castro leading in second place in the Pro-Am category, with Marco Cironi right ahead of him now, and Matt Holcomb right behind him. So the top 3 in Pro-Am make that the top 5 in Pro-Am, all there from 11th down to Moise Uretsky and Kurt Swearingen, and in the 17 and 44 cars in 14th and 15th position. Side by side, Hutton McKenna in the number 88 and the number 13, Varonchowski. That's the battle for 8th and 9th position. The red, white and black car of Varonchowski had it. Hutton McKenna takes it away down into turn 5.
And even with that flapping bodywork, Trenton Estep able to pull away from Parker Thompson, which is kind of interesting. But Travis Wiley, what a great pass. He took advantage of a slight slip in turn 8 on that last lap by Michael McCarthy to move up into 3rd position. The youngster, just 18 years of age, the youngest driver in the field is Travis Wiley. He's done some karting and some Spec Miata, and that's about it coming into this weekend.
Wow.
So tremendously, relatively inexperienced, or very relatively inexperienced, getting an opportunity to drive this Apex Capital car. David Baker, who's a stalwart of the old GT3 Cup Series, is amongst the people giving Travis this opportunity.
And he's taking the karting line, as we often call the rain line. So that that experience may be helping him. He was right on the berm through the carousel, trying to find a little bit of grip, maybe even a little bit of wet to cool his tyres. Big slide by the leader coming through Canada corner.
Yeah.
How much grip's left? There's only 5.5 minutes or thereabouts left. Drivers having to work a little harder now to get the cars to stop and to turn in and that accelerate. And Hunt McKenna, having gone up into 7th position, has just gone long and outbraked himself at Canada corner. And Varun Chotsky then back into 8th position. Dimitri Demakos just ahead of them. Demakos was through. That was just, I'm afraid, a little bit of over-enthusiasm by Hutton McKenna. Turned in a little bit too quickly and has spun out of 8th position. I misspoke and said 7th. He got up into 8th the previous lap. Marco Cironi puts the fastest lap in Pro-Am in as he goes through. Oh, what's happened? Efren Castro's dropping down.
Yeah.
Castro's had a problem. Castro's had a problem from 2nd in Pro-Am. Matt Holcomb in the Mystery Machine cars gone through into 2nd. Kurt Swearingen then into 3rd. So Matt moving up at the expense of Efren Castro. There he is, just going past us now and down towards turn 1. And Hutton McKenna, who had the spin, is right alongside him. This is the man challenging for the championship, an opportunity to close. And there's the number 7 going on. That's 2nd place. That is Travis Wiley, 3rd position, excuse me.
No,
sorry, that was
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
I wonder whether he went down the inside and slid wide, perhaps.
He did. My apologies.
Yeah.
Too much going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming up through the field rather than dropping back down. But for that moment, yeah, he was trying to make a move on the 77 of Travis Wiley, who was in 3rd.
Around the outside.
Trying to go around the outside, and that wasn't going to work. And loses a position to TJ Fisher, and I think maybe Sean Warwick went through as well for Kelly Moss Racing, another one of the KMR cars. Right, take a breath. We've got just under 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Trenton Estep is pulling away. He's almost 2 seconds to the good now. Parker Thompson looks like he's settling for those points for 2nd place.
Well, last time around, Parker said his best lap of the race, in actual fact, but Trenton has responded, just got purple in sector 2, so he's pulling out extending that lead again. It was 1.7 seconds last time around. But it certainly seems to be more than that now. But Travis Wiley really doing an excellent job in that 3rd position. His teammate TJ Fisher now right behind him. And then the battle between Sean Varwig and Dimitri Demakos. Trenton Estep, though, he's really got the hammer down, and he's not going to be distracted by that flapping bodywork. He's just going to put his head down and try and extend his lead. That's exactly what he's done by a long way on this lap.
I bet, though, Jeremy, that even though he knows it's there, every so often he'll see it in the right-hand side door mirror and think there's somebody driving up his inside, because he's concentrating so hard. It'll just be catching his eye there. It hasn't distracted him. 2nd place at the moment, Parker Thompson, then Travis Wiley, then his teammate for Top Racing, TJ Fisher, 6'9", 77, 58 and 2. It's drying out there, and the times are coming down. Mark Kwame has just done the fastest lap in the AM category. He's up to 16th, and so there is still pace out there. 17 is Kurt Swearingen, and he has just gone past Matt Holcomb in the battle for 2nd and 3rd. So Kurt Swearingen now up to 2nd in that category, as they are trying to chase down Marco Cironi. Riley Dickinson coming back through the pack as well after his issues. He's back up into 13th, 10th in class, with a whole load of the Pro-Am guys right ahead of him.
New fastest lap last time around by our race leader, Trenton Estep.
Wow.
He pulled out more than a second on Parker Thompson on that last lap. Meanwhile, TJ Fisher, he turned his best up on that last race, 125.5, so a full second slower than Trenton Estep, but still inching a little bit closer now to his own teammate. That would be Travis Wiley. So 2 top racing cars in 3rd and 4th, and though that team have had all sorts of bad luck this season. On their way up here, the truck driver saw at a truck stop in Illinois a local preacher stand, and he thought, wait a minute. He went in there, knocked on the door. Would you bless the cars for me and try and turn our luck around? Well, It seems to be working because running in third and fourth positions at the moment. A brilliant run by both Travis Wiley and TJ Fisher.
Maybe their bad luck has been exercised then, as we'll come to the white flag this time around. Trenton Estep adding to his 2 victories north of the border, where he became the first American driver to win a round of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands.
And only the 3rd team to do so in the 2nd season of this category. Kelly Moss having won the majority of races, JDX Racing, which won yesterday.
4 miles to go for Trenton Estep and Parker Thompson. Parker Thompson will be gaining ground on Kai van Berlo, then the 2 top racing cars. 3rd step of the podium is not by any means decided. Travis Wiley has it, TJ Fisher is his teammate, but Sean Warwick for Kelly Moss and Michael McCarthy for Kelly Moss are also right there as well. Warwick is with the blue hood on that light-coloured Porsche, and then the green and white Kelly Moss racing for Children's car. So behind the Shell top-up JDX machine, 4 cars battling for 1 step, the final step on the podium. Jeff Myshak puts in the fastest lap in the AM category. He'll be on the podium as well if he gets round, sitting in 3rd at the moment. Efren Castro flying back through the field, as off goes the number 7. That's Michael McCarthy down at turn 5. So now just 3 cars battling for the final step on the podium, and this battle is taking them closer to Parker Thompson and 2nd place. Not sure whether Parker is easing off or whether he's taken too much out of his tyres as it's been drying out. As round goes Thomas Collingwood for BGB Motorsport in the all-silver car. This is the final lap, halfway around. Estep now, 4 seconds to the good and more. The 2 top racing teammates coming out of the carousel, down towards the kink. Estep, I think, with just about enough of a cushion to hold on to the lead. Yeah, well, that's definite. But the 2nd place, Parker Thompson, he's just picked up his pace a little bit as the 2 top racing guys have started to fight. But here comes Sean Warwick with the blue colours on his car. Locks it up a little bit down to Canada corner. The 2 Apex Capital cars battling. I thought there was going to be a little over and under there by Warwick. He was looking down the inside for a moment.
I think they both braked a little bit too late, didn't they? But they got away with it, and they maintain 3rd and 4th positions.
And I think that's how they're going to finish, unless Warwick can get the run up the hill and nip the TJ Fisher number 58 to the line. Coming to the line then to complete the 15th and final lap, through to a victory, a famous victory, with a great overtake down at the bottom of the hill at turn 3. Trenton Estep for MDK Motorsports from Parker Thompson, 2nd position point, but with Kai van Berlo not scoring, he will close down the championship lead considerably. 2 extra points for his pole position for Parker Thompson. And Sean Warwick took the fastest lap on the last lap, as through goes Marco Cironi in the yellow and black number 84, just ahead of the number 17 of Kurt Swearingen. That's a brilliant run from Kurt into 2nd position. Matt Holcomb in the Mystery Machine, number 55, in 3rd position. That's your Pro-Am podium. Mark Kwame with his fastest lap and the AM fastest lap on the last lap. We'll take AM from John Getz in 2nd place and Vernon McClure in 3rd. So that, by our rough arithmetic, will put Mark Kwame back at the lead of the AM category in Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands, with Bill Smith not here this weekend. So Sean Warwick getting the fastest lap on the last lap, so taking the point for that in the pro category. Wow, what a race. What a turnaround for the championship. And that's going to close things up at the top of the overall and the pro championship.
Yeah, unofficially, Kai van Berlo, no add to his score today. 248 points to the 232 now of Parker Thompson. He did get the 2 points for pole position yesterday and 2nd place during this race. Trenton Estep with his 3rd win in the last 4 races, now on 216. So that is tight now, just 32 points between the top 3, and there's 28 times 3 remaining.
Yes, absolutely. As we go to Indianapolis for the next pair of rounds at the end of the month as part of the Porsche Sports Car Together Festival. I'm really looking forward to seeing these cars. It was an eventful triple header there last year. So 2 races there. In the Pro-Am, Marco Cironi wins it from Kurt Swearingen. What does that do to the points, Jeremy?
Marco Cironi sort of closes in, certainly. Problems really for both Alan Metni and Efren Castro, but Metni still has a pretty commanding lead, 215 to the 188 of Efren Castro. Marco Cironi, though, with the double victory this weekend for that Mark Motors Racing team out of Canada, will now move up into third on 156, and ahead of Kurt Swearingen on 132.
And Mark Kwame retakes the AM lead ahead of John Getz. With Bill Smith, I think, now dropping down into third position in that championship. That's me doing it fingers and toes, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. 222 now for Mark Kwame to 219 of John Getz. So just 3 points between first and second with 4 races remaining in the season.
Get well soon, Bill Smith. We'll hope to see you back at either Indianapolis or the season finale at Michelin Raceway at Road Atlanta. Difficult conditions for the second race of 2 this weekend at Road America, America's national part of speed, living up to its name. We're used to drama here. Championship leaders with problems in both the AM and the Pro-Am and the Pro category. And Kai van Berlo takes no points from this one, leads the championship as we head to Indianapolis. From John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw, bye for now.